Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid, but today is Monday, the 13th of May 2024, and these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the Indian elections, whose fourth phase has begun from today for 96 seats across 9 states and 1 union territory. The first 3 phases were held, of course, on the 19th of April, 26th of April, and the 7th of May. The results will be announced on the 4th of June. There are 969 million registered voters in the world's most populous nation to elect a total of 543 members of the lower house of parliament, that is known as Lok Sabha. The turnout has been a bit unfortunately low compared to the last elections, but there are different machinations that the BJP government has also been using in these elections, as it has used in the previous elections, in order to A, curtail the opposition and suppress it to a maximum, B, with its Hindutva ideology, appease the Hindu majority and try to garner as many votes as possible. Of course, the elections are also being held in illegally Jammu and Kashmir region as well, and Kashmir is a huge question mark as far as the BJP is concerned. That and more will be discussed in our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the IMF team that has arrived in Pakistan, and the meetings have started from today. These meetings will go on for a couple of days. This is the 24th program for which Pakistan and the IMF are currently in negotiations. Pakistan is seeking a long-term and a major program with the International Monetary Fund for economic recovery and economic stability, with a package that could range from $6 to $8 billion US. We'll be highlighting and dissecting different parts of the relationship between the IMF and Pakistan in our second story. Then we'll be talking about the King Edward Medical University that is going to launch a robotic surgery project at the Mayo Hospital, one of the oldest hospitals in Lahore as well. This has moved a PC1 of a project to the Punjab Health Department to start robotic surgery, which is a new technique, not a new technique elsewhere across the world, but in Pakistan, involving minimally invasive procedures to make the attached Mayo Hospital the first public sector teaching institute of the province to offer this latest mode of treatment to the patients with a 100% success rate. Finally, we'll be talking about the BAFTA Television Awards that were recently held in the United Kingdom and were presented by the British Academy of Film and Television Arts to honor the best television programs and performances in the United Kingdom. This is the lineup for today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's begin with our first story, and that concerns the Indian elections, whose fourth phase is underway for 96 seats across 9 states, whether it be Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Jharkhand, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We've been joined by 2 guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. In the studio, we've been joined by Barrister Nida Salam. She's an international affairs expert. Thank you very much, Barrister Sahiba, to have joined us. And online, we will be joined by Anum Khan, foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much. Oh, Anum is here. So, Anum, welcome to this part of the show. Let's begin with you, Barrister Sahiba. More than a month has passed since this 7-phase giant elections in India is concerned. Now, the Kashmir Valley has finally begun to cast its votes on the constituency. On the 13th of May, the Indian administered region will vote for 2 other constituencies on May 20th and 25th as well. So there are 3 basically places where the elections are going to be held. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party has not fielded any candidate as far as the Kashmir region is concerned. Why is that so, firstly? And do you feel that there is more at play as far as Kashmir is concerned? Because when it comes to Jammu, they did field candidates.
All right, thank you very much for the invitation, Omar. It's always a pleasure in your intellectual show. And the decision by the BJP not to field the candidates in the Kashmir Valley stems from a number of factors. Contesting in Kashmir would indeed raise the concern of Article 370, which guaranteed the autonomous right to the people of Kashmir. As far as the narrative of the Modi and BJP was when they were in the power, actually, that was highly controversial and polarized. By abstaining from contesting ruling in Kashmir, the BJP may be avoiding direct confrontation on the contentious issue, which could indeed turn the elections into referendum. Actually, the decision not to field the candidate is a very smart move by the BJP and Modi, considering the concerns of security, sensitive issue of Article 370 and electoral pragmatism. Modi and BJP, they are aware that they are not only in the violation of international commitments, laws and obligations, but also Universal Declaration of Human Rights and United Nations Security Council resolutions.
All right, Anum, coming to you, when it comes to the 3 places in Kashmir where the elections are going to be held, Srinagar on the 13th, that is today, Baramulla on the 20th of May, and Anantnag Rajouri on the 25th of May. Which party do you feel is going to gain the most votes? Because of course BJP is not taking part in these elections, but we also should know that the BJP has never taken part in the elections in these 3 areas since it started in 1996. Of course, we are talking of the National Conference, the People's Democratic Party, that have the sympathies of the people there. And both these parties are talking of the cause for the Kashmiri people. If any one of these parties gains these seats or a maximum of votes, will this help the Kashmir cause in some way?
Thank you very much, Omar, for calling me here. I think that it would not help the Kashmir cause per se, because the thing is, internationally, all the international legal bodies as well as Pakistan, we do not follow Indian constitution. So by other means, Indian constitution has no effect on whatsoever is happening that in Indian illegally occupied Kashmir. We also need to understand that Pakistan is showing unwavering moral, diplomatic and political support for the Kashmiri cause. So the thing is, this is not really going to help us in the form of a referendum, because it would have been a referendum of sorts if these were not domestic elections, and let's say hypothetically these were elections between Kashmiris choosing for the right of freedom and choosing to they were supposed to choose between Pakistan or India, or if they want to have their own state. So that would have acted as a referendum of sorts. At the same time, the parties that you asked, we also need to focus on the fact that these parties have these both parties have categorically stated that they are going to become part of the Congress government, and they would focus on being part of the opposition other parties and not the BJP, because they openly do not like the Indian rhetoric, the BJP's rhetoric and the Indian Hindutva ideology. We also need to understand the fact that whatsoever that is happening in Kashmir right now, there is not much freedom of information. We saw many internet crackdowns. We also saw physical crackdowns as well. So we cannot be certain that the elections in Kashmir would not be rigged as well.
All right, thank you, Anum. Coming back to you, Barrister Sahiba. In India, the main opposition party, Congress leader and former Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi says that the recent terror attack on an Indian Air Force convoy in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district was a pre-election stunt by the Bharatiya Janata Party. He says these are just stunts and not terrorist attacks, and there is no truth through it. He said BJP is playing with people's lives and bodies. Will such pre-election stunts work in BJP's favor?
I don't think so. Let me recall the past for your audience. Modi and BJP both are famous and habitual of blame game, and let's consider the past of Pulwama attack, Uri, Pathankot, and then later their own national security advisor Ajay Doval also advised them to refrain from speaking when their governor said that it was a security lapse. So BJP and Modi's strategy during the elections, we have seen in the last decade as well, is to kill their own soldiers, to create unrest on the soil just for political gains. And I think for a shorter term they might benefit them, but for a longer term they will be exposed, as they have already been exposed in the past as well.
I understand. Anum, multiple constituencies in India are witnessing a certain phenomenon, like Surat and Indore. Opposition candidates are dropping out, they are joining the governing BJP, or allege threats to their lives as far as the BJP is concerned. BJP says there is no foul play at all. Opposition candidates claim that these instances are evidence of an uneven political playing field. What's your take on that?
You know, in the past, Congress has also stated that Indian Election Commission has been accused of being biased towards one party, that is BJP. And it is so because right now BJP is the ruling party. We also need to see the fact that the idea should be, ideally, that the next government of India should establish the proper mechanism of selecting election commission. But we can also see the fact that the
Commission. Anum, I'm not talking of the election commission. I'm talking of political parties in areas such as Surat, such as Indore, where the political candidates feel by other political parties have either joined the BJP or have desisted themselves, have completely gone out of the election race, or say that they are being threatened by the BJP. I'd like your take on this.
Well, we can see that very interestingly, the BJP manifesto and all the BJP ideology, the way we talk about Hindutva ideology as a case in point, is that they have been showing very aggressive domestic tactics as well. And one of these are that you have already mentioned, by pressurizing other candidates, pressurizing candidates from other parties to join BJP, as well as pressurizing the candidates from opposing parties to let go of their seats. So we are already seeing that, and there are already many media reports by international agencies as well, which have shown concern about this fact. All this comes to the fact that BJP is trying everything in power to win these next elections and secure the third term.
All right, Barrister Sahiba, there is a low turnout in the first three phases of these elections that has been proven by different polls that have been conducted. Now that in the first three phases the turnout is low, Narendra Modi's tactics have changed from the economic record of his party and that of the opposition parties, to blaming the Congress of planning to extend welfare benefits to minority Muslims at the expense of disadvantaged tribal groups and Hindu castes. Of course, which puts the blame A on the opposition Congress party and B on the Muslims, and is pitting the Muslims against the Hindus. Will this change of tactic benefit Narendra Modi?
I don't think so. Look at that now. The Congress, Rahul Gandhi exposed Modi from all of his lies, from benefiting his elite friends, from Wadias to Ambanis and all that, benefiting again religious discrimination from Ladakh to Kashmir, from the hills of Manipur to the ocean of Mumbai. So again, besides than that, religious discrimination, discrimination on different other in different other manners. For example, the farmers' protest. How can we forget the Rafale deal and all that? So I strongly believe that Rahul resonates with the young people in India at the moment, and a young generation in India is more inclined towards Rahul, and these tactics I don't think so going to benefit Modi for the third term.
We'll see within a month's time, but you know, our deepest fears might come true if things go the way they are going in India. Anum, coming to you, the BJP has been maneuvering against the Muslims and other minorities, but specifically Muslims as far as India is concerned, from posting animated videos on Twitter or exclaiming that Muslims backed by the Congress were plotting to take over government benefits, to Narendra Modi calling Muslims infiltrators and alleging that Muslims have too many children in effort to scare Hindu voters into believing that Muslims can ultimately outnumber them. Then of course accusing the Congress of favoring Muslims and conspiring to transfer wealth looted from Hindus to Muslims. I'd like to add to this a report that recently came by the India Hate Lab, which documents about 700 hate speeches in the country in 2023 alone. This whole rhetoric of hate speech, of deliberately targeting the Muslim community, which is a 200 million plus community in India, is this a strategy that has been beneficial in the past? Will it be beneficial in the future? And what does the BJP government gain with this division between Hindus and Muslims in India?
What my point of view is the way you already mentioned that there are 10.9% voters which are Muslims, but Modi government has played out a strategy where it wants to secure all the Hindu nationalist ideology and perspective, the people who follow such ideology, they want to secure their votes first. We can see the same is happening where even Muslims have been forced in the past to vote for BJP. We also saw there were many international conferences now. I'm mentioning it here because, this Hindutva ideology will not just stay and work on the electoral system in India or in IIOJK. It's a universal threat as well. Why am I saying it? Because there are so many different international meetings that were held by the people who were of the same ideology, and there were interestingly many BJP leaders who took part in those meetings, and the hate speech was there. They wanted to kill Muslims whenever they were urging the people to kill Muslims when they see one because of all the things that you already mentioned. But I think it is a downward sword. It is also a double-edged sword because Hindus and Muslims have lived in this region for so long, and they cannot just wipe off the truth that is the Muslims are there and they're going to stay in India. At the same time, it is important to mention here that we recently saw that Citizen Amendment Act and the rules were being stringent after the passing of the Citizen Amendment Act, and Modi is saying that when he comes back into power, he would do the same and also offer more stringent rules against non-Muslims. And it is not only about Muslims, it is also about other non-Muslim minorities like Christians and Sikhs. They would also be impacted by this. But right now we are really focusing on seeing how the Muslims are being treated, and if BJP comes back into power, the scenes are going to be horrendous.
All right. Before we talk about BJP coming to power and the eventualities of that, the way the BJP government has been targeting the opposition parties, whether it be opposition leader Rahul Gandhi being expelled from the parliament last year, and for charge of defamation for ridiculing Modi's name, then his jail sentence is suspended by the Supreme Court, or Arvind Kejriwal or Hemant Soren, who've been jailed in dubious corruption charges. Arvind Kejriwal has been given a bail, but then there was a petition that was also put forward to the Supreme Court that asked that he be relieved of his duties as the Chief Minister of Delhi. And that, of course, that plea has not been accepted by the Supreme Court. But there is a lot of pressure on the opposition parties, even from before the election period. Will that have any impact on the opposition parties contesting votes? We also know that different accounts of the opposition parties, like the Congress, have also been suspended.
All right. As far as the suspensions and the BJP and law enforcement agencies detained them, and they went to the Supreme Court, for instance, Kejriwal, and then recently Rahul Gandhi's sentence was suspended by the Supreme Court. So the situation you have described highlights the combination of interplay political, legal proceedings and government influence, law enforcement agencies influence as well. So Justice Karma recently in Kejriwal's case stated that, I would like to quote word by word for your audience, that it is the election season. He is the elected Chief Minister of Delhi. The elections are around the corner. They are extraordinary. This is an extraordinary situation. He is not otherwise habitual offender or somebody who has been involved in any other case. This is the test of the Supreme Court, to be influenced by the BJP and Modi, or to take the side for the rule of law to prevail, for the Constitution of India to prevail, for the human rights to protect. And this decision by the by the judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Khanna, not Kejriwal, Justice Khanna, is an epitome at the moment for the rest of the courts in Indian legal system, that take the side of the take a right decision, take a right side, because the history will remember you, and this is your test as in terms of the legality, judiciary and all.
All right, let's see how much of a test that the judiciary in India will also pass. Anum, coming to you, you talked about Narendra Modi coming into power a third time and what will be the eventualities. Let's talk about some of the eventualities as highlighted in international reports. The Wall Street Journal talks about India's ruling party BJP that has sharpened its anti-Muslim campaign rhetoric. It has posted videos depicting Muslims as invaders, attacking Hindu temples and seizing jewelry from Hindu women. Then we've got human rights groups who have also described India as a dangerous place for Muslims. The US Commission on International Religious Freedom says religious freedom conditions in India continue to deteriorate. The report also criticizes the Modi government for reinforcing discriminatory nationalist policies and perpetuated hate to oppress the minorities living in India. Will this policy intensify if and when Narendra Modi comes back to power for a third time?
Actually, there are two schools of thought. One is idealistic perspective, where scholars and practitioners have been thinking that if Modi comes to power the third time, he would try to change a few things. However, we do not live in a utopian world, and the realities on the ground are very different. I think the BJP leader would opt for the similar, in fact, more stringent policies vis-a-vis non-Muslims, especially vis-a-vis Muslims, the way he has been carrying them out. The thing is, he has also said the same in his manifesto, and the way we have seen the different debates that have been happening before elections and during elections. So these things are not going to die down. Unfortunately, we are also going to see a lot of mob violence because of the kind of narrative that Modi has embedded, and I would rather say institutionalized in the minds of the people through all the rhetoric that he has been saying. Then we need to understand that the states or the nations whose leaders are as arrogant and as extremist as PM Modi, the downfall does come. So if he comes to power and he does the same, it may also opt for consequences. For example, the US has also indicated at a point in time, and the UN has done so a million times, that they're really concerned about the freedom of religion practices and the freedom of Muslims in India. So we have seen what has happened in Canada, what India has done. I wouldn't go into the detail of that. And overall, we are going to see that maybe this would impact, if such policies are continued, this would also impact Indian foreign policy. And it would not become a matter of only India providing a nuclear military industrial complex. They would be forced by other nations to opt for human rights and understand what is happening in India and hold them accountable.
All right. Of course, I understand all of this, and that's very important to note. And let's see how the different world bodies react if and when Narendra Modi comes back to power. Thank you very much, Anum Khan, Foreign Affairs expert, who have joined us online. Let's come back to you, Barrister Nida. Along with Muslim bashing, there is another angle to Narendra Modi as well that he has been constantly using in his favor, and that is the Pakistan card. He has used it time and again, whether it be through false flag operations, whether it be through ridiculing Pakistan, whether it be describing his government's New India policy of looking an adversary in the eye and speaking the truth rather than resorting to stealth. He has also warned of launching cross-border strikes in response to terror attacks on India in the past. Does this make the outlook of Pakistan-India relations more troubled if and when Narendra Modi comes back to power?
Yes, absolutely. And besides than that, if we consider the last decade, the relations were not that great. Once fantastic tea was served to them as well. And these false flag operations exposed Modi, his error actually, internationally. And Pulwama, Uri, Pathankot, these are all the examples for that. And how can we forget Kulbhushan Jadhav and International Court of Justice? So I think the way forward of this long-standing issue is only the table talk, honesty, and to resolve the issues with integrity rather than these blame games.
All right, let's see if these blame games, but seeing the whole rhetoric of the way Narendra Modi has been moving on, I don't think that the blame games are going to stop at any time. Also, let's talk of the judicial independence, media freedom, civil liberties that have been impeded during the Narendra Modi is 2 stints in power. He has muffed dissent, he has intimidated the media, he has harassed and incarcerated journalists. Have these maneuverings or approaches worked for BJP in the previous elections, and will they help him in these elections as well?
Authoritarian tactics can benefit in a shorter terms, but not in longer term, actually. Recently, I think the media, judiciary, other state institutions are hijacked by Modi. These elections are not about forming the government, opposition or democracy. These elections are about the dictatorship of Modi. These elections are about the discrimination of Modi. These elections are about the rights of the people of India. I feel so sorry for the wives of the martyrs, soldiers of Pulwama, Uri and all that. He killed his own soldiers for his own benefit. So imagine the head of the state with this mentality. I don't think so can benefit anyone living in that society.
That is true, Barrister Sahib. Also, I'd like to understand, there's a whole mantra that the Narendra Modi government and the BJP have been moving on with, and that is that they are going to garner 400 seats this time in the elections. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi openly says that if they do manage to get 400 seats, they are going to modify the constitution of India, and if they do, this is the end of democracy in India. What's your take on that?
All right, 400 seats. Okay, I think the audience and the Indian public should
I mean, this is what he's claiming.
Should consider the charismatic Rahul Gandhi, who resonates with the young people and who not only exposed Modi and his elitist friends from Wadias to Ambanis to Mittals and all that. So let's come to your question. Winning 400 seats, no doubt, would give Modi a majority in the parliament, enabling them to pass legislation, potentially implement their agenda more aggressively, assertively. Besides than that, promote Hindutva ideology, diminish diversity, diverse voices, the health of institutions, judiciary, media and the law enforcement agencies again will be compromised. The construction and completion of Ram Temple. So coming back, Modi for the 3rd term, I think is no,
but we know that there are going to be a lot of things that might happen if Narendra Modi comes to power, and if he gets the number of seats that his party has been claiming. Let's look forward to June the 4th when the results will finally be announced. Thank you very much, Barrister Nida Salam, international affairs expert, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this continued phase of the election that has been going on with a lot of uncertainty as to what the results of these elections will bode as far as India is concerned. Let's come to our last 2 stories very quickly. The first concerns King Edward Medical University that has moved a PC1 of a project to the Punjab Health Department to start robotic surgery. Now, this is a new technique that involves minimally invasive procedures and make the Mayo Hospital that is attached to the King Edward Medical University as the first public teaching institute in the province to offer this latest mode of treatment to patients with 100% success rate. This facility was also being used by the Sindh Institute for Urology and Transplantation in Karachi, where surgeons performed more than 1,500 urology-related robotic surgeries since 2012. And of course, this is part of the various reforms that the current Punjab government is also taking to run this project. The Mayo Hospital has also hired 2 highly trained robotic surgeons. Robotic surgery, ladies and gentlemen, has revolutionized surgical procedures and medicine as well, offering patients a minimally invasive alternative to traditional surgery. So let's see how that bodes for Punjab and for patients who want to have these procedures at the Mayo Hospital. We wish them all the very best nevertheless. Now, finally, BAFTA TV Awards were held recently in the United Kingdom. They are, of course, held at the London's Royal Festival Hall. There were a lot of important prizes, those who got it, those who don't. This is the norm as far as any awards are concerned. The leading actor was Timothy Small for The Sixth Commandment, leading actress Sarah Lancashire for Happy Valley, and Jasmine Rob Jobson for Top Boy, and supporting actor was Matthew McFadden for Succession. One of the only major awards of a series that was known to the public that got the accolades. Otherwise, there were a lot of not that well known series that did run up to the mark as far as the BAFTA TV awards are concerned, and of course they got the accolades. In reality shows, the Squid Game, The Challenge, got the award, whereas Strictly Come Dancing also got the best entertainment show program. Robin Ramesh versus got the best comedy show. A little run up to what happened at the BAFTAs, and that is the TV category. The film awards were already held earlier in the year. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news story segments that pertain to us in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.